play a little bit more of this loon so that you can remember what we went through with her. Philosophy person. Could you name one work by Aristotle and one by Hegel?
Sure. I don't know what works by Hegel.
By the way, if I'd have known that's what she was saying, I would have answered. I couldn't understand her because she talks like with a dry Adderall mouth, and I couldn't understand.
You're like slowing down with your age. It's a little hard to keep up.
No, I'm just like a normal person who's not on speed.
Aristotle would be the 5 dialogues.
That's Plato.
That's it.
Hello. Hey Jay, are you gonna unblock me yet, or are you just gonna keep running from me forever? And I thought you quit.
Yeah, why would I be running from a person who's a complete idiot? Like, what is she even talking about? And no, I will never unblock you. You're gross.
Debating, or did you not? I just also want to be clear.
We're gonna jump to the next.
I'm not an expert.
All right.
James, I'm so sorry.
No, it's not that you're not an expert. It's that you don't know anything. Like, nobody said or thought that you were an expert. It was a pseudo game of making people think that you knew something at all, and that's exactly not the case.
We're just going to turn this into like shitting on Erudite session. You're so desperate. You're like, God, how do I get this win? I asked for you, which is why for societies to compete at a global geopolitical level, you have to keep up with technology. The reality is that China...
By the way, in the other debate, guess what? My GDP. That's it. Like, she just repeats the same shit year after year. And she just spits it out as if that's like high IQ. And no, it just means you talk fast. That's literally all it means.
Wants to win over America, which means they're going to allow women into the workforce. They're going to give them tampons. They're going to give them birth. You have to.
None of that proves that it's necessary and inevitable.
It proves that it's necessary and inevitable because the technology changes at a global level. And for you to compete at a global level, you have to allow women into the workplace.
So she just yaps. This is like her whole thing is to just yap. If it didn't happen, that's it. In Rome, then it wasn't necessary and inevitable, and that proves my point.
Do we live in Rome anymore?
Oh my gosh, are you serious? You're that stupid.
Do we live in Rome anymore? Or the technology?
You said necessary and inevitable?
Yeah.
Yeah. All I have to give is one example to show it's not necessary and inevitable. This is a stupid person. Was it necessary and inevitable in Rome?
Again, the technology. Or do we live in Rome? Do we live in Rome?
So then it wasn't necessary and inevitable.
Are the technologies the same?
Can you follow an argument that isn't just yapping and asserting your position?
Jay, can you
It's an argument.
follow me?
What's the argument?
It was not necessary in Rome because they didn't have tampons.
Then it wasn't necessary and inevitable. Thank you.
It is inevitable because we now
then
have
it's not
tampons.
You just said it's not necessary.
Do tampons exist?
That refutes your position.
Do tampons exist?
No.
Did they exist in Rome?
No, they don't exist.
Did they exist in Rome?
There are no tampons.
There's no such thing as tampons.
No.
Okay, great. If the tampons...
There's no such thing.
Did they exist in Rome?
No.
So tampons are not real?
Correct.
Okay, well, if we're doing this type of debate, I guess that's true, and the sky's purple, and I'm a 12-foot hippopotamus.
We have a lot of historical Christian societies.
Sure.
Were any of them feminist?
No, but I don't think in general that God advocates really strongly for a political system.
Really?
No.
What about when Israel was organized? Was that a political system?
What did they have? In 1948?
No, in the Old Testament.
In the Old Testament.
Mm-hmm.
Was it? Yeah, it was.
Obviously, I'm not talking about 1948. You know what I'm talking about, dummy.
Political society.
Mm-hmm. How was it organized?
I'm not a Jew.
What does that have to do with whether it was organized in a certain way? I overlooked this compilation. Okay, this is a new compilation of like greatest hits from her. This is crazy.
It has nothing to do with my claim.
What does the Old Testament say about how God organized that society?
He gave them prescriptions about how to run their life from Moses.
How was that society organized?
It was organized, I believe, in a patriarchal society with matrilineal heritage.
And it was a monarchy?
Yes.
A male monarchy?
Yep.
Okay. So, in that regard, God was not feminist, right?
I've never said that God was feminist.
Well, I'm asking if there's a history example of where God organized a feminist society.
I mean, it's interesting because when you look at like ancient Judeo history, if you're not being presentist, it was like insanely...
Are you being presentist? I'd be like, yeah, bitch, I'm Santa Claus. I'm always presenting. I'm giving presents out left and right, dog.
Progressive compared to like the pagans around them, like the Assyrians and Babylonians?
That's not what I'm asking.
Well, it is what you're asking.
You're calling it progressive, and I would just say it's healthy. So the fact that they had the Ten Commandments.
God seemed to advocate to some degree for a better treatment of women than any other society around them.
But that's not feminism.
To some degree, you could argue that it is if you agree with my definition, which is like the empowerment.
Well, but your definition is so elastic and broad that it could be anything except for what my position is. No, I don't, because I'm not agreeing that Old Testament patriarchal society is feminist. You just admitted it's not.
If you're not agreeing, why did we even define the words at the beginning?
Can you name a feminist society
I'm not
that God advocated?
I'm not interested to.
You appealed to God.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing to treat women well.
Did God ever? That's not feminism. Now you're equivocating.
I'm not equivocating.
Yes, you are.
How am I equivocating?
You're changing moving the goalposts is what feminism is.
That's a completely different fallacy.
If God
Am I
has,
equivocating or am I moving? Hold on, am I equivocating or am I moving the goalpost now?
It's both.
You're
equivocating on the word and moving the goalpost.
Yeah, this dummy thinks that she can't do 2 fallacies within like a minute. She could do many. So I don't know why she thinks that. No, like you can't actually logically do more than 1 fallacy within a few sentences. I think she could do the most. I think she's really talented at fallacies, actually.
Goalpost to make your position work. So if there's no
feminist,
equivocating on the word,
that's not what equivocating.
I know what.
Yes, it is equivocating on the word, so that feminism is anything that a society does that supposedly is helpful to women or minorities or whatever. That's now feminism. And I began this debate with her by saying feminism is a historical movement located in certain feminist figures. And then she expands it to be anything that helps women. So that is equivocating to make the word basically any piece of evidence can fit under that umbrella to then prove feminism. It's so stupid.
Equivocation means, yes, it does. It means that two different understandings of a word. You're equivocating on the word, feminism, and you're defining to say that if God in the Old Testament gives women rights, that's feminism. That's not what feminism is. Feminism is a modern movement, post-revolutionary philosophy.
Why did you agree to my definition of feminism?
Because it's so broad that's fine if you want to defend that against patriarchy, but I'm arguing patriarchy against feminism.
So
and
all
what
you're
you
doing
appeal
now
to
is moving the goalposts by originally agreeing to a definition of feminism, and now you're saying that can't work anymore because it's defeating my argument?
The Old Testament God and the New Testament God are the same God, and they never institute a feminist society. And women's rights are being made in the image of God, that women are protected now in that status.
What do you mean
is
by a
not
feminist
feminism.
Society? What do you mean by a feminist society?
A matriarchal society or a non-patriarchal society.
I've never advocated for either of these things.
Okay, but feminism has never been a societal goal in the Old Testament or the New Testament or the history of any Christian society.
Again,
so you have no examples of this.
I haven't advocated for any of these things. I don't need
You appealed to God.
She is the biggest sued on the internet, and it's all sophistry. So I haven't looked at this in like a year. So going back and listening to this now, like a year later, it's literally just sophistry, the whole thing.
God as your standard of the ought and the right, the moral right.
Yeah, it's a moral thing to treat women well.
And then I said, give me the examples of where that God ever instituted anything like what you're talking about in terms of feminism. And there's not. There's not.
There is, according to the definition you agreed to.
No,
on
there's
feminism.
not.
Yeah, the empowerment and promotion of femininity. Judaism,
that is not what is happening in the Old Testament.
Judaism is the most progressive approach to femininity of all of the
modern
religions.
She thinks that rabbinic Judaism is the same thing as the Old Testament religion. It's not.
Judaism is not the same thing as what's in the Mosaic Law.
You asked for Old Testament examples, which I just gave you one.
That's not rabbinic Judaism. You admitted that it's a patriarchal society that's a monarchy.
What do you mean it's not rabbinic? You don't think Old Testament Judaism, like...
No, it's not.
It's not
different.
rabbinic. What are you talking about?
It's not the same thing as
you
rabbinic Judaism.
You don't think that the 1200 BC society that was erected by King David wasn't a rabbinic society?
Rabbinic Judaism comes out of the 4th and 5th century when the Babylonian Talmud is collected and collated.
So you don't think that the Old Testament at all...
is not rabbinic, no.
Okay.
And it's
she doesn't even know like basic
circle. So even if it was rabbinic, it wouldn't repeat it. Then there's no examples of what you're talking about.
Well, the issue for me is that what you're doing is you're creating a false dichotomy. You're pretending like
so she can't give a single example of what she's talking about, and so she's being presentist.
Patriarchy and feminism can't coexist at the same time.
They cannot.
Of course they can. We live in one.
Being feminine is not the same thing as the movement of feminism.
I didn't say that it is. I said that
You said that femininity is promoted in the Old Testament, and you used that as a way to prove your position.
I said it empowered women and it promoted femininity. It empowered women by creating matrilineal lines of inheritance, and it promoted femininity by making a whole bunch of female figures be viewed as these like incredible characters to like look up to, like Ruth and Deborah and stuff like that.
Okay, well, there's
which, according to the definition you agreed to on feminism, would be feminism.
Then it wasn't quote progressive according to your view, because other societies worship the goddess, and that would be more progressive than what you said.
If you want, we can go back an hour and we can redo chatter, and you can make a new definition for feminism that you like more, so that you can apply it more narrowly if you'd like.
You have moved the goalpost.
I have not.
From
I wrote
what
it down.
Feminism is.
I wrote it down,
to be
and you agreed to it.
Anything that. So is the goddess feminism?
I don't know what
is goddess worship in the ancient pagan world. Is that feminism?
It might be.
Okay,
I'm not sure.
You.
I don't know anything
so your
about.
View,
hold on.
So your position is so elastic that it could encompass any possible
Then why did you
position.
agree to it?
It's unfault because the way you framed it was anti-patriarchy, and I'm fine with that.
I didn't frame it that way.
Yes, you did.
I did not frame it that way.
The terms of this debate
are: go back an
is
hour,
feminism good or is patriarchy good?
I wrote it down. Do you want to go back an hour?
The fact that you wrote it down just
so she's denying the terms of the debate is patriarchy versus feminism. Now she's saying I never disagree with patriarchy. Yeah, you did. That's the premise of the debate, you idiot.
Means that you misunderstand what you wrote down.
No,
that's even dumber.
The issue rather than you just being bad faith for no reason,
No,
is
this
that
is good. You don't even know what an internal critique is. So
Well,
I'm not being bad faith. I've been debating for 25 years.
it's
not bad faith.
completely fine to not know what terms are, right?
Sure, but in terms of debate, that's like 101, knowing what an internal critique is.
I understand what like consistency checks are. I just didn't use the language internal critique, right? So if we want to go back an hour, you agreed to this idea of chatter, right? How we
By
want
the
to
way, it's bright as hell in that room.
define concepts, agree to them so that we can talk about
Women
ideas.
prattle or chatter? I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
So if you agree to that
What did I say?
Or chatter?
idea of chatter, right? How we want to define concepts, agree to them so that we can talk about
Women
ideas.
prattle or chatter?
Prattle or chatter, because all she did was prattle the whole time.
I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
So if you agree to that and then you agree to the terms, you can change them later. I'm just going to be good faith. You can change them later if you want to. Let's just go back to the terms again and narrow it down to what we can agree to of what feminism and patriarchy means. Because
Right.
now, like, all you're doing
I
is
gave a very precise definition for patriarchy, right?
sure, I did
And you
too.
gave a very loose definition as to what you think feminism is, which could encompass conceivably anything that helps women. And that's an ambiguity fallacy.
Then provide a different definition. Don't agree to it.
In my
Why is she asking me to give a definition for her? This is so stupid. Like, this is like the dumbest debate almost of all time, right? And I don't know which is my worst debate. Is it Misfit Patriot, Erudite? I think most people think that those are the top two worst opponents ever. I want you guys in the chat. Tell me what you think. Do you think that my worst debate opponent was Misfit Patriot, Erudite, or is there another one that we're forgetting? Is it the Independent Fundamentalist Baptist guy? That guy was pretty bad. By the way, I am as pretty as I'm way prettier than this bitch. What y'all talking about? Y'all think T-Jump? I don't even know if T-Jump was the worst. I mean, I kind of feel like Misfit Patriot's worse than T-Jump if you think about it. I mean, Misfit Patriot didn't even get off the ground. Like that plane crashed before it even got off the runway, dude. I mean, at least T-Dump, he stuck it out the whole time. Kurgan was pretty bad, but y'all really think T-Dump was worse than Misfit Patriot? I first thought it would be T-Dump, but then when I reflected, the more I think about it, I think it has to be Misfit Patriot's the worst. I think Misfit Patriot's worse than Captain Crackrock. Patriot is worse than Bryson Gay. I think they're worse than Mark Brahman. At least had a kind of wild kind of argument. At least it was a creative argument about Genesis. But I think Erudite and Misfit are the worst. No, it's not JF. Trent Doherty might be one of them. He's up there in the top. Trent's in the top 5. Yeah, I'm using my little flamenco. That's gonna be my rap name, Lil Flamingo. Lil Flamenco. Vegan Gains and Ask Yourself. I mean, they're up there. They're probably the top 5 too. I think Misfit gets number 1. Erudite number 2. Maybe Pastor P number 3. No, Bryson Gay. I don't know. You're right. Bryson was pretty bad. So, but anyway.
opening statement, I said that I believe feminism is a revolutionary philosophy that destroys society. It was,
By the way, interesting not hearing this debate after a year. I haven't really thought about this debate. But people forget this was not the all there was. Also, I would say, by the way, it turns out they just made this live. So the full Naeem debate is up. So let's take a look. You guys already know about the erudite nonsense, so you can go watch this. It's all the same, just yapping bullshit she says all the time. I do want you to hear some of Naeem's opening statement because it was so bad. It's so bad. Just No, it's basically just non sequiturs. Naeem's whole thing is a bunch of things that are assertions that don't logically lead to the Quran is therefore true. So it's a great exercise in probably the most common fallacy, even maybe more common than ad hominem, is probably non sequitur. So let's look at Naeem's opening statement. Let me speed it up a bit. We don't want to go to sleep, although he might put your ass to sleep. Because the full debate, by the way, is now up if you guys want to watch it. They just posted this, and I'm sure the full Jake debate will be up in the next few days as well. So let's watch the opening statement from Naeem, and you'll see what I'm saying.
Special thanks to our sponsor, Maine First Project, fighting to put Mainers first. Check out mainfirstproject.org. In the right corner, our next speaker is an author and cultural commentator known for his extraordinary intellectual range, sharp wit, and formidable debating style. He's also appeared on prominent platforms, including Tucker Carlson and Timcast IRL. Please join me in welcoming Dyer.
Yeah, y'all forgot Lord Voldemort and Piers Morgan's.
With that, we are indeed jumping right into it. I have the timer set for you for your opening statement of 20 minutes. Waleed, the floor is all yours.
By the way, this will be a good exercise too, because you guys will see, we're going to walk through and see all the non sequiturs and things that are just fallacious here.
Testing, 1, 2, testing. All right, perfect. So you let me know when the time is started, and I'm good to go.
Reminder to keep that mic pointed at you at all times.
Yep.
Ready? On your first word.
Okay. In the name of God.
By the way, if I recall, it's actually, there's a part towards the end where I think he starts reading off his phone. And from where I'm sitting, I can see the script on the phone. And that's why I made the Chat GPT joke, is because what it looks like I'm seeing from my seat is Chat GPT. So, but let's see, because I think it's towards the end where he starts reading something off of his phone.
The entirely merciful and the especially merciful. The Quran or the Bible, which one is God's revelation for all mankind? All praise to God, the Lord of the worlds. I'm just going to let you know that I will speak a little bit fast, and also I'm not going to fully quote my verses. I'll leave the references on the screen for the audience to see, and they'll have to do their own homework because I don't have time to read through all of it. And also quickly, I just want to say salam to mama, to my dear wife, to my child, and to all my beloved friends who are watching this at home. So the first thing I want to dive into is the weaknesses of the biblical text compared to the Quran. The Bible is not just one book. It is a compendium of different authors with different narratives, different emphasis, and even different doctrines. The Bible itself is an open concept. Different sects keep and omit certain books. The Bible itself does not define what the Bible is. So when Christians say the Bible teaches X, Y, or Z, they are assuming a concept which does not exist, i.e. the concept that there is indeed a set number of books that is the Bible and isn't the Bible. They are really referring to a disputable open concept library.
You'll notice, by the way, that any of these things that he's listed, there's nothing about those things themselves that are necessarily a problem, because he's just assuming the sort of Protestant KJV or Quran view of what needs to be the case for it to be authoritative. So all of these things that he's listed, which he thinks are problems, aren't really problems unless Islam itself is the case, and that's the thing in question. So let's see. I actually have some of my notes